Hi, everybody. My name is Tony Chen, and I'm the Director of Undergraduate Studies in the Department of Sociology. And I just wanted to extend greetings to our graduates, our faculty, our staff, and all of the friends and family who are watching on our YouTube live stream. Welcome to Northwestern Sociology's departmental celebration. Let me address our graduates straight away. It has been an exceptional year, to say the least. And that makes events like the one we're having today even more meaningful. Even though we're not able to be with each other in person, our excitement and our joy for you is completely undiminished. And we are delighted to see you all one last time before you step out into the wider world and make your indelible mark on it. Our main purpose in gathering here today is to collectively acknowledge your educational and intellectual achievements. The broadest mission of the undergraduate program in sociology is to provide a high-quality liberal arts education. Over the last 4 years, those of us on the faculty have challenged you to read critically, think logically, and write clearly. We have also challenged you to acquire a foundation of basic knowledge about the discipline of sociology, to learn how to assess different kinds of empirical evidence, and to develop a general capacity to reason sociologically about new and unfamiliar problems. Every single one of you has risen to the challenge, and we are proud of you. Congratulations. And now onto our program. We have an interesting one in store. We'll first hear from our keynote speaker. Then I'll turn the floor over to my colleague, Chaz Kamek, and he'll recognize our honors graduates. We'll then identify our majors who have earned a concentration in their degree. Next, we'll present the Exum Award for this year. And finally, I will present individually our graduating majors and double majors, reading out their names, their achievements, and their thanks. Before we really start, let me just do two things. First, I want to recognize our undergraduate program assistant, Princess Parker Rosado. This has been her first year on the job, and it has been a doozy. Princess is the person responsible for running the undergraduate program, and she's one of the major forces behind the celebration that we are having today. It simply couldn't happen without her, and I'd like to thank her for everything that she's done. Thank you so much, Princess. Second, I'd like to take a moment to introduce my colleagues on the faculty who are joining us today. Steve Epstein, Chair of the Sociology Department, and the John C. Schaffer Professor in the Humanities. Bruce Carruthers, John D. MacArthur Chair, and Professor of Sociology. Jeanette Kalivas, Associate Professor of Human Development and Social Policy, Learning Sciences, and NICO. Jeanette is Riley Seperich's thesis advisor. Wendy Espeland, Professor of Sociology. Wendy is Gian Paulino's thesis advisor. Gary Allen Fine, James E. Johnson Professor of Sociology. Gary is Bohe's thesis advisor. Wendy Griswold, Berger Evans Professor of Humanities and Professor of Sociology. Wendy is Jackie Mazique's thesis advisor. Andy Papachristos, Professor of Sociology and Director of Northwestern Neighborhood and Network Initiative. Andy is Robert Wong's thesis advisor. Christine Percheski, Associate Professor of Sociology and Faculty Fellow at IPR, and also Associate Chair of the department. And last, but certainly not least, Carrie Snyder, Associate Professor of Instruction. It's nice to see all of you. We kick off our celebration today with a keynote address given by a very distinguished speaker. Normally at our department celebration, there is no keynote address. It's usually a fairly low-key affair meant to bring us all together in the same space for a little pomp and circumstance. But mainly it's set up to give us a chance to meet each other and mingle. This year is different, of course, and we wanted to make our celebration a bit special. Our guest speaker today is Craig Futterman, who is a renowned civil rights attorney, a law professor at the University of Chicago, and an honors graduate of the Northwestern Sociology Department, class of 1988. Professor Futterman and his law students were centrally involved in breaking open the Laquan McDonald case a few years ago. They spent nearly a year in court trying to get the dash cam footage of his killing released to the public. It's hard to think of a guest speaker whose expertise and insight are more timely. Professor Futterman has spent most of his professional life in pursuit of civil rights and police accountability reform. He has been called a human rights hero by the American Bar Association, and we are honored that he would take the time out of his enormously busy schedule to record his thoughts and share them with us at this juncture in our nation's history. I'll go ahead and play his address for us.
This is not the same. This isn't the graduation any of us imagined. I mean, I'm not now looking out from the stage along with your professors, beaming with love and pride. I am beaming with love and pride, but I'm not gazing into your faces and those of your loved ones. Your loved ones are unable to see each of you cross the stage in your cap and gown to be greeted personally by each of your teachers as you accept your diploma. We couldn't have imagined that your last quarter in college would be remote in a world of social distancing, Zoom learning, and all the while with people getting sick, dying, losing their jobs, losing their homes. Many of us have lost people we love, and I pray that they're here with us in spirit, celebrating with you. But it's not the same. One of the things that this pandemic has done is to make us all stop. To stop so many of the things we've taken for granted, how we do things, how we organize our lives, it's all grinded to a halt. The basic law of momentum dictates that we have to stop before we're able to change directions. And this forced stop, both the really good things like the graduation ceremony that we imagined, but also some not so good things, provides each of you with an opportunity. And that's the opportunity to question all we've done, to ask whether it makes sense to continue doing it, to do things better. The opportunity to create something better. We have to stop before we can change directions. One of my most formative experiences was as a student in Northwestern Chicago Field Studies program, then led by Professor Al Hunter. I began it the summer of my junior year. I was placed as a participant observer, field researcher in the Cook County Public Defender's Office, working in 4 felony courtrooms in the Skokie Courthouse, just about 10 minutes from our campus. 4 courtrooms heard cases exclusively from neighborhoods on the north side of Chicago, neighborhoods that were disproportionately white, especially as compared to the neighborhoods on the south and west sides of the city. Now, this was back in the mid-1980s, in the height of what's been called the war on drugs in the United States. I vividly recall the day I made my first trip from campus to the courthouse. And I got to admit that I had experienced rich white kids on campus buying, selling drugs all day, every day, without ever being hassled throughout my first 3 years at Northwestern. But yet when I arrived at this courthouse and walked into each of those 4 felony courtrooms that heard cases from predominantly white neighborhoods, all I saw were black and brown people in chains, shackles, and almost all of which were drug charges. None of the white young folks who I saw doing this day in, day out. And this was a snapshot that repeated itself each and every day I made that trip. The experience was intensely personal for me. It immediately brought back things that I experienced throughout my childhood, growing up between 2 different and unequal worlds, from my parents' home in Niles, predominantly white, working to middle-class suburb on the northwest side of the city, to my grandparents' home on the south side of the city in a neighborhood that was exclusively black. That experience, that summer in Northwestern Chicago Field Studies program is actually what made me want to go to law school, what made me want to become a public defender, to work with kids who are trapped in the criminal system. And my sociology lens from Northwestern's never left me. Even many years after law school, after graduating from Northwestern too, it fundamentally shaped the Civil Rights and Police Accountability Project that I've directed for the past 20 years now at the University of Chicago Law School. Back in 2000, months after we first created the project, we began to build a partnership with folks who lived in a high-rise public housing community called Stateway Gardens, a community in which some of my friends grew up. Stateway, which you can see a bit of in the background behind me, was part of the single poorest community in the United States, part of a 4-mile stretch on Chicago's south side called the State Street Corridor of continuous high-rise public housing apartments home to thousands of black families. Community members created a working office for us by trashing out a vacant 4-bedroom apartment on the ground floor of one of the 17-story family buildings that had been used before as a dope house. But unlike my summer in Northwestern's Field Studies program, we strive to be more than mere participant observers. We work to become advocates, partners, supporting our stateway neighbors, not just in documenting, but fighting to end human rights abuses. That ground floor apartment at Stateway behind me, that became our second home for the next 7 years. Throughout our years there, 3 things stood out most to my students. First, every day, my students experienced the operation of what felt like a second constitution, everyday stuff. Black folks being stopped, searched, treated as a criminal just for being. A second and unequal set of fundamental rules about the way things are. Second, our students experienced what impunity looked and felt like from the ground. The everyday demeaning treatment of children and their families that I described created the setting, the context for groups of officers to operate with absolute license. We experienced crews of aggressive, openly brutal, racist officers who moved around the projects as if they owned them. Our community as an occupied territory. And third, the Stateway community was just that, a real community. As much as it was abandoned and vilified by greater society, every one of my students couldn't help but know that there was something really special about the families who made up the Stateway Gardens community. We experienced everyday acts of loving kindness, care, compassion. We saw adaptive strategies, mutual help, generosity among neighbors, a vibrancy, creativity, a spirit, a soul. And of course, folks having the very same conversations about politics, sports, sex, gossip that take place in every other human community. The same conversations that upwardly mobile white folks have over bottles of wine in hip outdoor cafes and scenes thought to depict the height of urbanity. But when shared over a similar bottle of that same wine on a couple of milk crates at Stateway, they were seen as a portrait of urban blight. This special community that we were blessed to become a part of has since been disappeared by an Orwellian government project called the Plan for Transformation, a policy of demolishing public housing communities to reclaim that land for gentrification and development. Starbucks now sits on the corner where that family building with our office once sat. We fought side by side with our neighbors at Stateway to lift these realities into broader visibility, to force our society to reckon with them, to challenge apartheid justice in our own backyard. This approach, listening to, learning from folks at the ground, living in apartheid-like conditions, honoring the knowledge, the experience, and perspectives of the families there, this epistemology, how we know what we know. And I hope the humility instilled in me by my grandparents and reinforced as a sociology student at NU has informed the entirety of our work over the past 20 years. Work that led to the release of that horrific video of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke's murder of Laquan McDonald, a murder that shocked the world. 16 shots into the body of a 17-year-old boy, almost all of which while the boy lay on the ground helpless, writhing in pain. Youth-led protests in the street on Mag Mile in Chicago on Black Friday, busiest shopping day of the year, that catalyzed movements around the world. The first murder prosecution conviction ever of an on-duty Chicago police officer for killing a Black man, woman, or child. The election of the first Black woman to serve as chief prosecutor in Chicago. The creation of the largest community-owned database of police misconduct complaints in the entire world. A federal consent decree over the entire Chicago Police Department to redress patterns and practices of civil and human rights violations. Which brings us to today. It's not just Chicago. George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, so many others. We stand at a safe social distance from one another, not just in the midst of the COVID pandemic, but we also find ourselves in a parallel moment, brutally awake to yet another reminder that no matter how many times we shout that Black lives matter, millions of people in our society remain incapable of seeing Black people as fully human. That as far as we've come together in the fight for the principle, to try to make the reality that all people are created equal, racism persists. The appalling reality that a young Black man in America today may have a greater chance of dying at the hands of the police than by COVID-19. We have to stop before we can change directions. Among the things that I also learned as a sociology student here, and that's been reinforced throughout my career, is that things don't simply change on their own. They change only when we make them change. When people stand up, speak out in the face of racism, when people organize, speak out, and demand change. A couple of weeks ago, my wife and I heard one of my daughter's teachers say, "Resilience makes brilliance. Resilience makes brilliance." Your success in rising to this moment, in the face of everything, it makes you even more special. Y'all, I wish I could tell you what life is going to be like for you. I can't. I can't even tell you what things will be like 3 months from now. Truth is, no one can. But what I do know that your class, the class of 2020, building upon the foundation you received as a student in what we all know to be the best sociology department in the entire country. Your class is more than prepared than ever to rise to whatever challenges we face to make the world a better place, to stop, to speak up, and to create something better. Come what may. Congratulations, Northwestern, class of 2020, Purple Mafia. I send my love, my blessings to each of you and your families. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. That was a pretty remarkable set of comments. And I think Professor Futterman's given us a lot to think about on this day. Next in our program is the moment when we are going to recognize our honors graduates. I want to remind all the students on the Zoom to please turn your video on for most of the time if you can, because when it comes time to spotlight you, you can't be spotlit if your video is not on. Okay? All right. To do the honors, for the honors, I'd like to introduce my distinguished colleague, Chaz Kamek, who is the Lorraine H. Morton Professor of Sociology and was the honors coordinator for this year. Chaz?
Are you hearing me okay? Because I've had a little trouble.
Yes, you're coming across wonderfully.
Okay, because I'm hearing things with a little echo and I don't want myself to echo back at me. But what I do want to do is to join you in very warmly congratulating all the graduating seniors and their family and their friends on this milestone day. As we all know, receiving a degree from Northwestern is a major accomplishment. And that's especially true, as we all know, for receiving a degree in sociology. Northwestern is obviously a great university, and within it, the Department of Sociology is one of the real jewels in the crown. So a degree in sociology is something that is something to be very proud of. I'm here, as Professor Chen has just said, not just to congratulate all the sociology graduates, but also to make a few comments about what's involved for students who wrote a senior thesis. Not every student did that, of course. Our majors have a range of interests, and they had various different career plans in mind after graduation. In order to complete a senior thesis, students are required to take the department's senior research seminar. And taking that seminar is something that's really not the right choice for everyone. For students who do make the choice to take the seminar route, however, the senior seminar gives them a unique experience that differs from the experiences they typically get in many of the other excellent courses that are offered in the department. And in a few minutes, I'm going to, as Professor Chen said, indicate the titles of the thesis and the names of the students who wrote these theses. But I want to emphasize before that writing a thesis is only part of the thesis experience. The actual thesis is an end product of a larger process that runs for 2 quarters and entails much more than what's involved in writing a course paper and putting words down on the page. Before students get around to writing, those taking the seminar design a research project in their own area of interest, and then they carry out that project, producing the data they will use as the basis for the thesis they write. And that's a very demanding process. It takes dedication, it takes determination, it takes an enormous amount of independent work, stamina, and also considerable persistence in the face of the kinds of obstacles that almost inevitably come up in the course of doing research. In other courses, students naturally focus on the material that the professor teaching the course lays out on the syllabus and then lectures about when the class meets. Or in other words, lots of courses come to them ready-made in some ways at least. The work that's involved in the research seminar is not ready-made in the same way. Instead, each student in effect designs his or her own syllabus, choosing a topic that is particularly interested in themselves, ferreting out the scholarly articles and books that deal with that topic, then devising a way to address a question that is not addressed, not answered, not adequately covered in those books and articles. And after doing all that, conducting a study that addresses those questions and discovers something new, not previously known, not previously covered in previous work that scholars have done on that subject. Though the student really joins the scholarly community by engaging in thesis research and all of these aspects of the process before sitting down and writing the thesis itself. Now, of course, students do not do this without guidance. In my own capacity as the faculty member coordinating the senior research seminar, I hope I lend a little bit of assist along the way. But all the students also receive very valuable advice from Professor Chen in his role as Director of Undergraduate Studies. And beyond that, each student selects and regularly meets with a specific faculty advisor who is a specialist on the topic the student has decided to look into. Even with that help, however, the research that goes into the thesis is something the student carries out on his or her own. And based on what students have told me in the course of the past year, it's the actual research on a question of their own choosing that especially excites them, even when that research becomes difficult, when it meets obstacles. As I've said, as I might mention, another feature of this process is what a collective experience it is, how much it involves students interacting with one another and the stimulating exchanges that grow out of that interaction. Now, this is something that seems just the opposite of what I've been talking about, which is how students work independently on their own projects, and that they definitely do. But students also meet together regularly with one another. And when they do so, they engage with each other's projects, commenting on each other's work, offering critical and constructive comments on the work of the others in the seminar, and caring just as much, or so it seems to me, caring just as much about each other's projects as they do about their own. And that conversation is really very beneficial, I think, when we consider the wide range of topics students work on and the very different research methods they use. Each student emerges from the thesis project knowing not only about his or her own subject, but also about many other subjects. And that is something that just by luck for all of us, especially happened this year, thanks to the very healthy size of the seminar. It was kind of the ideal size at 9 people. So to illustrate, in this year's research seminar, topics ranged all the way from jury participation to eating disorders, to how race is presented in Disney films, to sexual harassment and more. And there was also a range of methods, just as diverse, which included the face-to-face interviews, online surveys, digging into old archives, and statistical analysis of census data. And having said all this, it brings me to the theses themselves, where it's my pleasure in a second to recognize each of the graduating seniors who wrote a thesis and to share their titles with you. But before I do that, one more thing. I'm also happy to announce that every one of the theses that I'm going to mention received a special award of distinction, which is a special commendation that the department's honors committee gives to theses that they find especially meritorious. And in addition to that award of distinction, the department designates a student who receives the award of distinction as graduating with departmental honors. So all of the students I'm about to name received both of these awards on their thesis, the award of distinction and also departmental honors. And in ordinary times, I'd hand out certificates to accompany those awards, but right now I can't hand anything out. I can't do too much with my hands except indicate that I have them. So we'll have to send those certificates out by mail. Even with that limitation, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to recognize and congratulate each of the following students. So I'm going to name the students, tell you the titles of the excellent theses they wrote, and also mention the advisor, though Professor Chen has done that as well. So let me start on this very pleasant part of this presentation, and begin with Riley Serpich, whose thesis was entitled "When New Reforms Aren't New, a Qualitative Study of Stakeholders' Perceptions of Equity Initiatives." And this was a thesis advised by Professor Caballes. Also, Jade Davis, whose thesis was entitled "Networking for Gender Justice, Women's Art Organizations as Facilitators of Gender Equity in the Arts Industry." And this thesis was advised by Professor Chen. I want also to mention Bo-hee Kim, whose thesis was entitled "The Relationship Between Individual Reputation and Happiness, a case study of two student-run dance organizations," that was supervised by Professor Fine. The next thesis I'd want to mention is by Courtney Kinchin, and titled "What Makes an Invested Juror? The Effect of Identity and Altruism on Jury Deliberation Participations." And this one was supervised by Professor Laura Beth Nielsen. Next, we have Denise Lopez with a thesis entitled "Environmental Awareness and Environmental Concern Among Youth of Color, and Exploration of Environmental Perceptions Among Youth of Color in Markham and Evanston." And this thesis was also advised by Professor Chen. Which brings us to Jacqueline Mazik with a thesis entitled "Dimensions of Girlhood, a Mixed Methods Analysis of Disney Channel Original Movies." And this thesis was advised by Professor Wendy Griswold. That brings us to Jeanne Polino, who wrote her thesis on "How Asian American Women Develop and Recover from Eating Disorders, an Intersectional Approach," supervised by Professor Wendy Espeland. I next mention Bobby Formarkin, whose thesis was titled "Feminism and Sexual Harassment in the Land of Gender Equality an analysis of young Danish women's feminist identities with implications for sexual harassment, advised by Professor Jean Clipperton. And finally, Robert Wang, Developments in Division, the role of large public investment project plays in gentrification, a case study of Chicago's 606 Bloomingdale Bike Trail, advised by Professor Andrew Papachristos. I was reading down the list of titles here, so I had to have my eye on the page. I only glanced at the faces of everyone in the seminar, and I've missed them so much since the seminar ended in March. It was nice to see them again, even for a fleeting section. Anyway, those are the students who wrote theses. Those are their subjects, and I think we should be very proud of all of them, and they should all be very proud of their work. I have one more thing to do as part of my pleasant assignment. Each year, in addition to identifying the theses that have achieved distinction, the sociology department further recognizes the best thesis that has been written. And this year, as I said, there were a number of outstanding projects. They were all quite outstanding. So the honors committee had a lot of decisions to make, and it decided not just to award one best thesis, but also to single out for honorable mention two others. And so I have the pleasure of recognizing these three theses. One honorable mention for the best thesis award is for Jade Davis for her thesis on the role of women's art organizations in facilitating gender equity in Chicago. The second honorable mention is for Robert Wang for his thesis on gentrification and Chicago's Bloomingdale Bike Trail. And then I come finally to the best thesis award itself. And that goes to Riley Serpich for her thesis, When New Reforms Aren't New, a qualitative study of stakeholders' perceptions on equity initiative, a careful study of two equity initiatives in California and how those are interpreted by different levels of school organizational stakeholders. So congratulations to Jade and Robert and Riley, and again to everyone. So to their families and friends and the faculty members who know them, warm congratulations once again on completing theses with distinction, and good luck with research going forward.
Thanks so much, Chaz. Congratulations to all our honors graduates. Next, it's my pleasure to recognize the graduating seniors who have completed a concentration in the major. Our majors can concentrate in 7 distinct areas of sociology, ranging from global development to urban sociology. Getting a concentration requires students to take 4 topically related courses in sociology and other departments, and this year, a number of students have successfully completed their concentrations. In particular, we have students earning concentrations in 6 areas. In economic sociology and global development, Bohe Kim. In environment and sociology, Denise Lopez. In social data research, Nebiu Tadel. In sociology of health, medicine, and science, Cecilia Paz. In social inequality, class, gender, and race, Gian Paulino, Bobby Throckmorton, Leanna Lindsay, Mizan Sembada, and Daniel Burnett. In the sociology of law, Courtney Kinchin, Crystal Lara, and Yurizet Villa. Congratulations to all our concentrators. This distinction comes with a certificate that will be mailed to you in a few weeks. So, at this point, I would like to present this year's winner of the Exum Award. Now, the Exum Award is given out each year in the memory of William H. Exum, who was a member of both the Sociology and African American Studies Department. And it's meant to promote the realization of his lifelong goal of helping people of color break barriers in the field of higher education. The award is given to recognize the best undergraduate paper on race and ethnicity, and it comes with a monetary prize. The competition was stiff this year, as it is every year. This year, we actually have one honorable mention and one winner. The honorable mention goes to Sophie Radowski for her paper, Il faut des frontières, Legacies of Colonialism in the French Government's Response to Migrants in France. Congratulations, Sophie.
Thank you.
The winner of this year's award is Maya Glenn. Maya's paper is entitled Intersectional Placemaking: How Queer Students of Color, Black Heterosexual Women, and White Queer Students Foster Community and Operationalize Intersectionality in Space. Congratulations to you, Maya. Okay, and now we've arrived at the moment of our celebration where we get to recognize all of our majors and double majors individually. Let me set the mood here with a little music. So see if I can do this right. Okay. So first, I'd like to acknowledge our majors who were not able to join us today. That includes Jeremy Bell, Daniel Burnett, Nicholas Davis, Ryan Durnish, Robert Harris, Tyler Holmes, Crystal Lara, Olivia Masich, Lisa Sambata, Amy Slorka, Cassandra Thomas, and Yurizet Villa. Congratulations to each and every one of them. I want to send out a special word of thanks on behalf of Robert Harris, who would like to thank his mother and father for always supporting him through his journey in life. Robert also says he doesn't want to forget the person upstairs either. And now I want us to recognize our majors and double majors who are here with us today. We're going to spotlight each of you individually. I am not an event planner. I have checked my notes again. I hope that I get everything right, and we're going in alphabetical order, but if it looks like for some reason I have skipped you, which I hope I don't do, please message me in chat and let me know stat, okay? All right. Thank you so much. I'd first like to recognize Riley Separich. Riley is from Richmond, Virginia, and she is graduating with a degree in economics and sociology with honors in sociology. Riley would like to thank her parents, Colin and Sherry Separich. Congratulations, Riley. Larry Coleman. Larry is from Compton, California, and he is graduating with a degree in sociology with minors in legal studies, African American studies. Larry would like to thank his mom, his dad, and his mentor, Nick Davis. Congratulations, Larry. Jade Davis. Jade is from Sheldon, Illinois. She's graduating with a degree in art theory and practice and sociology with honors in sociology. Congratulations, Jade. Austin Goodwin. Austin is from Washburn, Maine. He is graduating with 3 degrees: mathematics, mathematical methods in the social sciences, and sociology. Congratulations, Austin. Karam Hansen. Hi, Karam. Congratulations to you. Karam is graduating with a degree in sociology. Estefania Hernandez Caballero. Estefania is from Chicago, Illinois, and she's graduating with a degree in Spanish and sociology with a minor in Latino studies. Congratulations. Bohei Kim. Bohei is from Seoul, South Korea. She's graduating with a degree in economics and sociology, with honors in sociology and a concentration in economic sociology and global development. Bohei would like to thank her parents. Congratulations, Bohei. Courtney Kinchin. Courtney is from Indianapolis, Indiana. She's graduating with a degree in sociology with honors in sociology, with minors in legal studies and African American studies. In sociology, Courtney concentrated in the sociology of law and law and society. Courtney would like to thank God, her family, and her friends for their support. Congratulations, Courtney. Leanna Lindsay. Leanna is from Los Angeles, California, and she is graduating with a degree in sociology and political science with a minor in African American studies. In sociology, Leanna concentrated in social inequality, class, gender, and race. Congratulations, Leanna. Denise Lopez. Denise is from Gresham, Oregon, and she's graduating with a degree in global health studies and sociology, with honors in sociology and a minor in environmental policy and culture. In sociology, Denise concentrated in environment and society. Denise would like to thank her parents for their enormous sacrifices, her brother, her sister, and her friends, and her adoptive family at Northwestern. Congratulations, Denise. Jackie Mazik. Jackie is from Homewood, Illinois. And she's graduating with a degree in sociology, with honors in sociology. Jackie would like to thank her family. Congratulations, Jackie. Martha McCoy. Martha is from McLean, Virginia, and she's graduating Phi Beta Kappa with a degree in mathematics and sociology. Congratulations, Martha. Isamar Munoz. Isamar is from Chicago, and she is graduating with a degree in sociology. Congratulations, Isamar. Congratulations. Gian Paulino. Gian is from Los Angeles, California, and she is graduating Phi Beta Kappa with a degree in international studies and sociology, with honors in sociology, concentration in social inequality, class, gender, and race. Gian would like to thank Professor Espelin, Professor Patillo, Professor Kamick, Professor Silva, and someone named Professor Chen. She would also like to thank her parents, Cindy and Roger. Congratulations, Gian. Cecilia Paz. Cecilia, also from Los Angeles, California, and she is graduating with a degree in sociology and global health. In sociology, Cecilia concentrated in the sociology of health, medicine, and science. Cecilia would like to thank her parents and her family for all of their support. Congratulations, Cecilia. Jessica Rodriguez. Jessica is from Chicago, and she's graduating with a degree in sociology. Congratulations, Jessica. Alexander Somerville. Alexandra is from Hockessin, Delaware, and she's graduating with a degree in English, creative writing, and sociology. And also, I think Martha's next to her. Congratulations, Alexandra. Nebiu Tadel. Nebiu is from Chicago, Illinois, and he is graduating with a degree in sociology and a minor in business institutions. In sociology, Nebiu concentrated in social data research. Congratulations. Bobby Throckmorton. Bobby is from St. Louis, Missouri, and she is graduating with a degree in mathematical methods in the social sciences and sociology, with honors in sociology, and a concentration in social inequality, class, gender, and race. Bobby would like to thank Professor Kamick and Professor Clipperton for their guidance through the thesis writing process, and her parents for always supporting her. Congratulations, Bobby. Robert Wong. Robert is from Taiwan, and he is graduating with a degree in sociology with honors in sociology. Congratulations, Robert. Give me one last second to check on something. I'm getting a note on chat. Okay, and I also want to announce our senior marshal for the year, which is Gian Paulino. So congratulations to Gian. And that's it, everybody. Congratulations to the class of 2020. You are exceptional in every way, and we are proud of you. Best of luck to you going forward, and please stay in touch. We want to know how things are going for you as you tackle your next stage of life. Take care. Congratulations.